And good evening to all. Myself Vaibhav. I welcome all of you to today's session of Visual JForex, in which we will be working with a well-known indicator, and it is fairly simple and widely used in the financial markets. The name is support and resistance, and from the name itself, you can gauge that it is the indicator which helps us determine the range for the underlying instrument, and we will be trying to exploit the opportunities where the market is trending and we are expecting the underlying instrument to trade within the range, so we can look for buying opportunities when we see the underlying instrument is stabilizing closer to the support area, and we can start looking for short selling opportunities if we see that the resistance is holding well and there is some momentum which is now shifting to the bearish side. So we can look for short selling opportunities when we have the price momentum closer to the resistance level. So that's the underlying logic. So let us now head to the Visual JForex board, which has been developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA to make the algorithm development task quite easier and equally fun. So here you will find this indicator just below the RVI, support and resistance. This is the indicator block, and we have to define three input parameters depending on which we will be getting these two output values. And here the minimum look back period is 2. That means we are looking at the price formation 2 hours back, and depending on that we are determining the maximum and the minimum, which will act as the near term support and resistance level. So we are relying on this. And time frame, you have to choose what is the candle period you want to choose. You have to define it here. In this session we will be working with the hourly time frame, and the instrument of choice needs to be defined here. This value remains as it is. Okay, I will explain to you the logic on the JForex chart. So for that, we head to the JForex platform. There is the Euro USD chart plotted on the hourly candle period. I will add the indicator S and R, that is support and resistance. So here we have, and we get this plotting for the support and resistance 2 hours back. So whatever is the current time, we have to consider the support and resistance values depending on the prior data. So here we have the maximum value of 1.0748 and the minimum value of 1.0695, and we can expect these two values to act as the resistance and support. The maximum is going to be the immediate resistance and the minimum is going to be the immediate support. So unless and until there is any break on the either side, we can expect the price to remain range bound, and that is when we will be looking to initiate the trade opportunities within this range. So the task is quite simple. We want to rely on this range. So what we will do, we will consider the price movement of the last hour, and for any long trade to be taken, we need the last hourly candle close to be on the higher side compared to the opening price, but it should be fairly close to the support level. So for that, we will take the actual difference between the maximum and minimum, and we will take 25% of that as the determining factor. If the last hourly candle close has happened below the 25% from of this difference from the minimum value, then only the trade initiation will happen. And similarly, we will determine the entry point for the sale also. We will need the price of the last hourly candle close to be within the 25% of the difference between the maximum and minimum from this maximum value. So we will deduct the 25% of actual difference, and the last hourly candle close needs to be above that, while the closing value needs to be below the opening price. So that will indicate that the momentum is now slowly shifting on the lower side, and it is still close to the resistance zone. So this is the time to look for the initiation of the short sale trade. So the logic is simple, and as we are expecting the price to remain range bound, we will also want to close the trade within this range only. So we will go with a risk reward ratio of 1:2. We will take the 25% of the actual difference between the support and resistance as our stop loss level, and we will take twice of that to get the risk reward ratio as the target price. So a lot will depend on what is the range defined by the support and resistance, and then we will rely on that to initiate the trade and also define the trade input parameters of the stop loss and take profit. So now we head back to the Visual JForex board where we have to define the hourly candle period first, which is going to be hourly. So I will change it. Rest of the input parameters remain as it is. Now I will first get the instrument subscription done. For that, I need trade component. This is going to be pending open. Sorry, not now. We need logical component first. So I get these three if blocks. On candle will be our start point. For instrument subscription, we are going to rely on default variables. So default instrument, which is Euro USD, will be matched with the on candle instrument. So first input equals second input. Again, we take last candle instrument, and then we match it with the instrument of choice, which is Euro USD. So for that, I need to find Euro USD in this list. Here it is. All right. Now let us define the position amount at 0 to make sure there is no existing pending or open position on the account to avoid doubling down of any existing position. I will define the second parameter at 0, which we then join into this S and R indicator block. Now we have defined these input parameters. To look at the price volatility, we will be taking the help of info candle. So for that, I'm going to add get historical candle. We will add 4 of this. Two to look at the price formation prior to the execution of the trade, and then 2 of 10 seconds each to exactly pinpoint the entry point, as we usually do in most of the sessions. So these are like standard requirements. Default period I will change to hourly. This will also be changed to hourly, and later on we change it to 10 seconds. Look back period will be 1 and 2 respectively. Here also these two 10-second blocks will be similarly defined with the loopback period of 1 and 2 respectively. Alright. Now to look at the actual difference between the maximum and the minimum, I will add the calculation expression. That's a mathematical component which I will join to this 10-second candle. Okay. Now we take into consideration the actual difference. So I have to deduct minimum from the maximum, which is a simple transaction A1 minus A2 as per the Excel convention. All I need to do is get A1 minus A2 and I will have the difference here. Support and resistance difference. Okay. Then we take 25% of that actual difference. So for that I am going to need one more of these. I'll put it here and then divide it by 4. So we get 25% of this actual difference. So I'm going to create a new variable with the start value of 4. This will be a dividing factor, so I will name it df and save it. And this will be A1 divided by A2. Alright. And I will name it the usable support resistance difference. Okay, so we have this newly defined variable which is going to be pretty important while defining the conditions for the execution of the trade. So for this session we stop here, and depending on the requirement we will be utilizing the values provided by this logical indicator and the info blocks along with the calculations which we have done to define these new variables. So that's it from my side for today's session. And if you have any query or any idea to share, you can write to me in the feedback section. For further coverage of the market developments, do check out the Dukascopy Analytics page. We are also available on the Facebook. You can reach out to us there too. For carrying out the testing on the historical data, you will need the assistance of the JForex platform. So all these links have been provided in the bio. Thank you all for joining in. See you next time around. Till then, goodbye.